Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Headaches and Hot Takes. I'm your host, Shapirian, alongside my co-host, Hearn, a.k.a. the son of the Intimidator, a.k.a. Little E, a.k.a. big-time fan of the National Guard, a.k.a. number 88, Dale Bernard Jr., the Herniator. What's up, man? How are you doing?
How did you know it was Dale Earnhardt, baby? How did you know?
Oh, I'll get to that in a little bit. I just made I decided, my setup for filming these videos was not lively enough last week. I figured, you know what? I need to, just get something to really jump at you with excitement.
I need to really advertise the $300 I've spent on merchandise. Is what you said.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What?
Dude.
No.
So for anyone listening, this man he's replaced every pennant, everything behind him that was behind him with all Bengals. He's wearing a Bengals shirt, Bengals hat. I see a towel. I see 2 pennants. He's got enough cups that he could spell out "Who Day."
It spells out "Who Day"
on his shelf. He's got, I don't even know, are these trading cards?
What? This is Doctor Strange stuff.
No, up a shelf beside the mugs.
These are...
What's that?
These?
This
is a little figure of one of my favorite people to play as in Madden. This is a card of him. Jeff Blake. These are little helmets. These are Funko Pops.
What's right behind the white tiger striped helmet?
This is a figure. This is the figure I was telling you about.
You're not pointing at that at all for me. Oh, you're pointing at it for me.
Right behind the white tiger helmet.
Yes, right now you're
the green cardstock.
This would be like me going, this right here.
I don't care what you see. I care what the people see.
This is my hard hat right here.
It's not quite that bad. Give me a break.
It was okay. This right here is my hard hat.
That's better. That bad. That's a little problem more what it looks like. It's an old starting lineup figure of Jeff Blake.
One of
my favorite people to play as in Madden.
The man spelled out "Who Day" with cups.
Don't look at me. Look at one of my favorite places in Cincinnati, Skyline Chili. Don't look at me.
What they have to do with this?
Those are their cups. They did a series, one a week for 6 weeks. And the whole point was to be able to spell out "Who Day." So, "Who Day." That's all.
How much are those cups?
Way too much. Way too freaking much.
As long as you can admit it.
Dude, they announced these cups. Skyline, if you're listening.
We know you've got to be.
You gotta be Skyline. Listen, Skyline. It's Who Day time. It's Skyline time. All right. When I saw these cups come out, I was like, I'll get them. Sure. I like to drink water out of these cups at home usually, like the big giant plastic cups. It's usually really cheap. I get them from games and stuff.
Yep.
I saw they were doing these and they spell out "Who Day." They all have players behind them as well. You just can't see that. And so I was like, I'll get these for sure. And I go and get the first one, and the price is not advertised anywhere at all. And I go to check out, and they're like, that'll be $8.64. I'm like, oh my god, what?
Okay. $8.64. I was honestly less. I was thinking at least like 15 per cup because it's a licensed, limited time, collectors. Yeah, I thought it'd be more than that. So.
But they're just plastic. They're good. Right. They'll hold up. I know they'll hold up. So.
Right.
Yeah, just thought for this 1 week, might as well support the 1-3 football team that I cheer for. Soon to be 1-4 by the time you're listening to this. So.
I support you. I support you supporting them, and at least you're what we preach most on this show, baby. You were self-aware enough to say, I paid too much for these cups.
I did pay too much for these cups. But I liked them when I used them, so.
Whatever.
Buddy, I gotta say, it's a little weird that you didn't seem weirded out at all by all the Dale Earnhardt Jr. references I made in your nicknames today. But as I've said before, I'm not the one making these nicknames up. It's not me. I'm literally not the person making up these nicknames. Those are what people call you. Okay?
So yeah, you just collect the data and decide what.
I hear these things. I see on Twitter, TikTok. At Headaches and Hot Takes on TikTok, at Headaches Pod on Twitter. I see all the things, and I just compile them myself. But sure enough, I was speaking. My grandfather, who I lovingly call my pawpaw. We're from West Virginia. It's a pretty West Virginia thing. I don't know.
I got a pawpaw.
You have a pawpaw?
I got a pawpaw.
Yeah, love the guy to death. I'd do anything for him. He's great. But
sure.
love him, and I told my mom when she gave me this information, I'm gonna put this on the podcast, just so you know. And she said, "Do it."
Okay.
He's a boomer, you know. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, that's okay, you know. But someone showed him the pod, and you know, bless his heart, he said, "Wow, that's Derek and that's Dale Earnhardt Jr., isn't it?"
No way. No
Swear
shot.
to God. Swear to God. My grandfather saw you and me and thought that I'd start a podcast with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
What does Dale Earnhardt Jr. look like? Is this how big of an insult this is?
It's not an insult, dude. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is like a heartthrob, actually. Not kidding you. Like, women love him.
Yeah, from what I see. I don't know. I don't see... Is Dale Earnhardt Jr. a bad-looking guy? I'm going to say no.
Not even
Do I look like Dale Earnhardt Jr.? I'm also going to say no.
Also no.
I don't know. I mean, shout out Pawpaw Superior, but hey.
Hey, thanks for listening, Pawpaw.
Like,
But no, that's not Dale Jr. Talking about Talladega. That's the herniator. Get it right. Get it straight. We'll get this straight, Pawpaw. You ever disrespect my boy, the herniator, again? Nah, just kidding. But I told you, I'm not going to cut up these nicknames. You're Dale Earnhardt Jr. Little did I know.
I honestly love that. I don't know. It makes so little sense. But it's so
None, dude. None.
I love it. I'll have to start flashing your face around and see if my Pawpaw... Hey, Pawpaw, who's this look like? And see what he says.
I do frequently get one. I will put this out there right now. I wholeheartedly disagree with this. But it's happened enough times to where I can mention this. Do you know? Do you know this one?
No. I'm just curious.
Tom Holland is the one I get a lot. I just don't see it.
Dude, the face right now, especially where you have a hat on, right? The
no,
face?
There's no way.
Yeah, I can see
Tom
it.
Holland.
Yeah, I can see it.
Welcome to Headaches and Hot Takes. I'm your host, Tom Holland, alongside my co-host, Dale Earnhardt Jr. What's going on, Dale?
I'm going to turn left and I'm going to drive fast today, boys. And millions of people are going to watch me.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
There he goes.
Wow.
We'll see him again in a couple minutes. And he'll be turning left again.
I
can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
You just wait till Pocono, buddy.
Pocono?
That's a racetrack. I used to like NASCAR when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what a great. You just totally.
Listen.
You've blown my balls off between the Cincy everything background.
Hooray.
And your grandpa thinking I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. Which is
shout out Papa for the magic content, dude. I could not get up with that on my own.
God bless Papa.
So, well, that being said, I think I've talked enough for the beginning of this show. What do you say?
That's up to you.
And the listeners. That's up to everyone but you, Herb. Let's get this straight.
Right.
But that being said, we're going to have about a minute straight here where I'm not going to say a word. Unless, of course, the hot take ends. We discussed this already.
Wait, so what's happening?
Hot take of the week, right? Am I wrong here?
Oh, and what is that?
What is the hot take of the week? I'm so glad you asked her. Hot take of the week is a little bit that we do every single week. We rotate back and forth as to who delivers it. We each get at least 1 minute of the floor to ourselves without any input from our co-host to deliver our hot take. Once that minute is up, or once the hot take is done, then the co-host comes back in and is allowed to discuss it. But up until that point, no matter how egregious the take, I'm gonna sit here and shut up. And this week it is the herniator's turn, baby.
What's up, people? Dude, this is a hot take that I have wanted to do. You knew I wanted to do this, and you specifically said, "Please hold off on that. Please don't go in and immediately do this." And now, finally, I've been granted permission by our game master Superior. You don't have to be muted right now. I'm just doing a little intro.
You're not starting?
No, it was just a little intro.
I think people will agree. I think even you, in retrospect, can agree. I told you to hold off with good reason. You don't start the show with your closer. You don't start the concert with your encore songs. You know? And
Sure.
I was like, hold off. I'm glad you didn't start with this. I thought you were going to start with it. I thought you were going to come out of the gate with this. I'm glad you did.
I would have. Yeah.
Right. This is very you to come out of the gate with this. There are people who have been keeping up with us. We know they're listening to the podcast that know where this is going.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
If you know me at all, and you know what's like the hottest, what is Hearn's most passionate hot take, you already know what this is. But the main reason that this is coming out this week is because it so perfectly ties into our main subject. That's sincerely why it's happening now.
I won't disagree, at least not at the moment. So, are you ready to go, sir?
Right in a minute. I'm ready, pal. Are you ready?
I'm ready to shut my mouth.
Oh, my America's favorite cult, baby. It's not the Swifties. It's not anything. It's not Jeep. It's not anything else. You know what it is? Apple, baby. The biggest cult in America. Oh, God. If you know me at all, you know I've ranted for a decade straight on Apple versus Android. I'm not going to bore you with the history. I'm just going to go most recent. iPhone 15 just now came out, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some facts. I'm going to compare. I got a page, baby, a page of data. I like data. You like data? Yeah, you like data. All right, so the 15 and the 15 Pro. First off, with USB-C. USB-C came out in 2014. Android phones have been using it since 2015, and the only reason you're using it, Apple, is because the European Union forced you to. Don't say, now with USB-C, as if you came up with it. You're being forced to do it. That being said, the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro use USB-C 2.0. That came out in the year 2000. 2000. It is 10 times slower than what every other USB-C is using now, which is USB 3.0. Only the 15 Pro Max uses that. But you have to buy a specific cable. The cable that comes in the box, you won't get to utilize it. So shocking, you have to buy an Apple verified cable to get it. Shocking. The new phone made with titanium. Don't know if you keep up with durability tests or all that with smartphones. Cracked. Almost broken in half. Made with titanium. The 15, not the 15 Pro Max, the 15 has a 60 hertz refresh rate. Costs $800. You know, I had to go back to 2018 to find any Android phone. Any Samsung phone, I'll say. Samsung's my go-to with Android. I had to go back to 2018 to find a Samsung with a 60 hertz refresh rate. Cost $160. This phone has a 60 hertz refresh rate. $800! You could find a 120 hertz, which is, for anybody who doesn't know that, that's how smooth your screen's going to flow when you're scrolling, when you're watching videos. That's how smooth it's going to be.
Higher than
$800. Yes, $800, you're getting what you could get on Android for $160 5 years ago.
My second monitor is my crappier monitor for my computer. I bought it for, I think, $38 at Walmart. It has a 60 hertz refresh rate.
It's insane. So the biggest so far is that they're using USB 2.0, came out in 2000, a quarter of a century old.
You gotta pay for the better version.
You gotta pay.
So damn, dude.
No, you gotta pay for the better version. You have to pay for a cable to actually be able to use the better version. You gotta pay twice. So now, real quick, I'm gonna go as quick as I can, all right? But
I'm not rushing you. I'm not rushing you at all.
No, you're good. So now, that was just some random facts about just the iPhone, right? Now I'm going to compare the 15 Pro Max, which is the flagship, that is the best of the best, versus the S23 Ultra, which is Samsung's most recent phone. The S23 Ultra came out in February. This phone just now came out in September. I don't think it's a big enough difference to say, oh, Samsung came early. It's the same year, so I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Both phones cost exactly the same for the base entry model. You can get 12 gigs of RAM on the Samsung for an extra $100. You can't you can't get 12 RAM on an iPhone at all, but you can get 12 gigs of RAM on an Android, which, for those who don't know, that's how fast your phone is. You want to be able to run multiple apps at one time, you want to edit crap on your phone, you need more RAM. The cameras. The cameras. You're gonna need to put up we're gonna need a graphic. The main
I'm your editor, not your PowerPoint creator.
I'll make it. The main camera. I'm in, baby.
He's waited all series for this.
Dude, I'm only down to here on my notes. We got a minute, all right?
God, it's only an hour podcast.
We're gonna roll. I'm
kidding.
The main camera on the 15 Pro Max, 48 megapixels with 5 times zoom. 48, 5. On the Samsung, 200, 100. 48 megapixel with 5 times zoom, 200 megapixels up to 100 times zoom. blows out of the water.
Soon.
It does 100 times. The iPhone shoots a 4K video. Android can shoot in 8K. The charging, you get a slow charger. First off, you don't get a charger in the box of either one of these.
You literally don't get a charger anymore.
Yeah, that's
the stupidest thing ever. They stopped giving you chargers.
It's so stupid, dude. So
how's that legal? You need a charger to use the phone. How is this legal? Like, this is an everyday device. They got sued in Europe for like, hey, it's really dumb that you guys have this cord that no other phone uses when every other phone uses this one, and we can prove that it's better. So switch to it, or you're not selling your phones here anymore. But like, no one brought up. By the way, you should probably include the charger that's necessary to use your phone for more than a day. You
used to get the charger. You used to get headphones.
You used to get free headphones. They were good headphones.
Right, they were. When you had headphone jacks, which no phone does anymore. Stupid. I digress. I digest. Quick interjection. I'm not saying Samsung and Android are perfect. I'm not. There's issues, all right?
Okay. Appreciate that. Because there are.
With the fast charger you can get on a Samsung, the fastest charging available on Samsung, you can get 50% in 17 minutes. 50% in 17. iPhone, 30 minutes. You get 50%. So it's almost twice as fast charging on the Android. On the Apple, on the iPhone, you got that big notch still. It's a dynamic island. Yeah, you made it. You made it do something that way it doesn't stick out so much like a sore thumb. Whatever. You have to pay for your ringtones, but if you wanted, I want the Power Rangers theme song for my ringtone right now. You have to pay for it.
Me? Yeah, I had to pay for it. I have it.
Yeah. Since like 2008, I've been able to go on Zedge and download whatever I want for free. But whatever.
Yep.
So some of the facts I'm just not even going to get into because I think at this point, if you know anything about iPhone versus Android, you know how customizable Androids are, the how much our chargers cost versus how much y'all's chargers cost. It's everything. So now my final point.
You go. You got final point.
No. Well, I've got like three. Okay, ready?
When I lift up the box to take my product out, is it a tactile sensation? Because that matters. That matters to no one. So think about that.
Who are you dissing right here? I'm
Apple.
Confused.
You don't know about the boxes?
No, is a box made out of some stupid?
It's a whole thing that, like, when you pull up the box, because it's just a little like box enclosure, so it's like goes over like this.
Like every box ever. The Apple.
When you pick it up, it goes like, and like comes off slowly on purpose.
Oh my god.
It's intentional. They did studies on it, and they're like, people show that they're more into it whenever they can, really feel like the whole experience. It goes back to one of my freaking. Goes back to one of my takes. Not everything has to be an experience.
You're gonna throw that box
taking the box apart before you can even see the phone to be an experience.
And
if you don't know what I'm referring to, and you're listening at home, you have an iPhone, which probably 90% of you, including myself, do. This is what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just think about it. When you open up any Apple box, it happens.
That's insane. Final few points. And the only response y'all have, iPhone users, green bubbles. Green bubbles. Oh, green bubbles.
I do hate the green bubbles, but it's not your fault.
Yes. Thank you. You are more self-aware than, I would say, 80% of iPhone users. It's not our fault. And it's not Android users' fault.
Even a little bit your fault, dude.
It's because Apple is using SMS for Android to iPhone communication. Guess what year that came out, buddy? Guess what year SMS came out?
1995.
92, maybe.
It's older than that.
It is 5 years older than both of us. It is over 30 years old. And Apple uses it. It's unsafe.
It's also horrible for safety and privacy.
Yes. It's unencrypted, so it's unsafe. It's literally a hazard that they use this. But they know that if they don't keep y'all in your box, now I have blue bubbles.
If everyone's blue. Mm-hmm.
Then nobody's special.
Matters.
So, again, one more time, because the biggest thing with the newest iPhone was USB-C. You didn't come up with it. You had to do it. Both are whammies.
Required to keep selling your phones.
Not only did you not come out with it, which they do that, they've done that for years. Now with blankety blank, it's probably been a thing for a decade, sincerely. Whatever. It's because you were forced to do it. If you are the type of person that year after year, on release date, you go out and get the new iPhone, I promise you have not had an original thought in your life. I promise. You If you use an iPhone and you've used iPhone your whole life, that's just what you know. Whatever. There's categories. As with everything we've talked about on this show, there's levels. I'm talking about the stands who Apple put out a new phone, and they go get it the moment it dropped. You have not had an original thought in your life because you are getting gypped. I have just listed off 15 categories, and it wasn't like it was close. The closest one maybe was obviously the price of the same, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the charging's kind of close. Everything else, the Samsung literally doubles at least the iPhone stats, everything. But y'all are fine with it because of blue bubbles. I don't get it, dude.
Listen, I have to play at least a little devil's advocate here because I am an iPhone user, and other than 2 phones in my entire smartphone life, I've been an iPhone user, and for the foreseeable future, I probably will remain one until a couple things could get me into using an Android phone again. I'm not anti-Android. I'm not pro-Apple. I'm very neutral on the situation. I did have an iPhone brick itself when I was in college. It bricked itself, which I feel like almost no one has ever had happen to them. They're very big on like iPhones can't have viruses. Can Androids get viruses?
Not that I've had, but I know that Apple is like known for that.
You can't get viruses, and that's because they're so blocked off. Like you can't customize it without like jailbreaking it, which is basically like setting yourself up for that kind of thing. But there's a couple things here that I would like to throw in. So I did have an iPhone brick itself one time, and that sent me into pro Android mode for a little bit. So I'm very anti-updating my phone past a certain point. For example, let's say my phone came with iOS 13. I will get every iOS 13 update. I'm not going to update to 14 because then it would slow your phone down, which they did get into a lawsuit over because it was proven that it was happening.
But yeah, not
that was happening.
I think the lawsuit was mostly over the fact that they said it wasn't happening. They literally lied.
Yes,
I guarantee you, probably every phone carrier does that. Technically slows down your phone.
Probably.
But Apple said no, we don't when they did.
I keep my iPhones on the iOS that they were created with in mind, whatever they came standard with, up until that last one comes out. Because, like, at one point, I was running like 3 iOSs past what my phone came out with, and my phone was running so much slower than when I got it. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, you can just tell that like my apps on this operating system were not meant for this phone.
Right.
So for that reason, I like to do that. I turn my auto updates off. I'll manually update until they get to the new iOS. That's it. My phone's been done updating for about 2 years because I have an iPhone 12, I think.
God bless you.
But that being said, they were very persistent, at least back in the day, about forcing the updates on you. Mm-hmm. And I guess that I ended up signing up to do an update later one time. Like, put in my password, something like that. I mean, it's kind of quick how those happen. They're like, later, do it tonight, overnight. Like, something like that. And you'll sign yourself up for something, right?
Right.
Well, I guess I set myself up to do an overnight update on my iPhone my freshman year when I was home for Thanksgiving break. And at the time, I had one of the famous iPhone chargers that were not hardly working unless they were held up.
Got to put the tape on it, got to hold it at
a certain
angle.
Like this. And I angle my phone a certain way at night, okay? To be like, please charge, please.
Right.
So without knowing this, I went to bed and my phone started updating overnight, and it ran out of battery mid-charge, which is something that's supposed to like not happen.
As it's charging, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the charger was
free.
Screwed.
Yeah.
So because literally iPhones, most phones I imagine, will tell you must have this much battery or be plugged in to update.
Yes.
So technically speaking, you could be updating with just 1% on your phone if it's plugged in. I couldn't tell you how low this was. I'm imagining it was pretty low because my phone died mid-update and it bricked itself. Could not be fixed. I spent over 6 hours online with, it's like Apple Care, something like that. Mm-hmm. Deep into the night before I went back to college, because I was home from break and I was like, I don't have a phone. This is not good.
That's a fun last night of break.
It was terrible. And we tried everything with this person. And I was like convinced. I was like, come on, give me more options, let's go. And finally, the Apple Care rep told me, I'm sorry. I don't have anything else to try. My best bet is to tell you to take it into your phone carrier and see what they can do. And they didn't even try, by the way. I took it into my phone carrier.
Oh, yeah.
At the time it was AT&T. They were like, I've never seen this happen. I was like, neither had Apple. So
yeah, I'm sorry, Apple. If you haven't really seen it happen, I guarantee you AT&T hasn't.
AT&T's not gonna help me.
Joe, who didn't finish high school, working at AT&T, I promise is not going to know how to unbrick my iPhone.
That's the cell phone workers, man. Come on, they're necessary.
Yeah, well,
they're necessary.
Everybody is.
But yeah. So I switched to a Galaxy Note 3. I had it for a couple of years. I think it was the 3. The Note was new. I just didn't like the user interface as much, and that processor compared to the newest iPhones at the time I felt like was a little slower. And the camera wasn't as noob friendly. Like, I could hold it up to the newest iPhone at the time, and my older Note, that was like a year and a half or two older than the iPhone, did have better specs than the iPhone camera. Not joking.
Right.
And I'd be like, my pictures look worse, and I know they look worse. Because I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm not a photographer.
You tweeted about this, and I was like, buddy, if you're having a problem with the camera, it's
you. It's
not your camera. Yeah.
You remember this?
Yes, because I was so happy whenever you convert. I was like, oh, like somebody else like converted. And I was so happy. And you were like, oh, like, I'm having trouble with this. And I was like, you're like, the camera sucks. I was like, the camera don't suck. Right. The camera's not. Yeah, you
One of our teachers in high school replied as well. And was like, I took this with this phone. Look at this photo. Yeah.
One of our teachers in high school?
What? One of our teachers in high school responded to me and was like, I took this photo on this phone. The same phone that I had. And she was like, you could not take this on an iPhone. It's better. It's better than you would get on an iPhone. And I agree with her. But I'm like, look, I do this, and then I grab my girlfriend's iPhone, wife now, and I take the side by side. It looks worse. And I don't know what to do because I'm not a photographer. So the freedom can be bad sometimes, I feel like.
I give you that.
And I didn't like the user interface as much. The iPhones are so simple and brain dead, and the last thing I want in my life is another chore. So I switched back. I've not regretted it. But one last thing before we go into our topic and before you continue. Finally bought some AirPods this week. I was really excited about it. I just needed a new pair of wireless earbuds, and I know they're really compatible with the iPhone, obviously. It's what they're meant for. Mm-hmm. And about the second generation AirPods, I didn't buy the Pro because I didn't want the Pro. The Pro have a different fit, and I wanted the classic Apple fit. I loved those earbuds. Loved them. Right. They were so good. And the Generation 2 still had that fit. And I was like, perfect. And they're like cheaper because they're like a generation behind now. It's what I want. Yeah. It does not have volume control, which my $30 headphones that I switched from had. So you have to have the better versions.
They don't have touch control. They don't have nothing.
Can't do that. No.
And how much were these?
Oh, $100. But if I were to spend $130 or $140, those ones have it.
I have a $20 pair of wireless earphones, which probably they would work with your app with your iPhone.
They would. They'd work for sure.
And yeah, tap it once, it pauses the song. Double tap it, it goes into the next song. Triple tap it, it goes back to a song.
That's
Hold down, it volumes up.
Did you have Raycons?
No, it's some brand I never heard of.
I had some Raycons. Mine messed up on me. Raycon support wouldn't fix them because they were a gift and they were bought through some secondhand thing. So like support was like, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna buy AirPods because I don't want them to mess up. Much love to Raycon, but those ones which were cheaper had all that stuff that you just mentioned. My freaking $100 AirPods don't have it. And I'm still happy with them because they fit in my ear. They're not going to fall out like my other ones did. They're not going to break like my other ones did. I'm fairly certain. So,
right.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
There you have it.
Anything else you'd like to add in now that I talked about it myself for like 10 minutes?
I know at the end of the day, like, it's your phone. Buy what you want. If Blue Bubbles is all you care about, stick with iPhone. I want you to be aware of what you're paying for.
It's a worse phone.
It is more expensive. Like you are quite literally getting gypped all the time. You've been getting gypped for years.
Yeah.
If that doesn't matter to you, if you don't care enough about it, fine. At this point, this is a piece of machinery that you're investing $1,000 in probably every time you get a phone. I think you should care a little more. I think you should care a little bit more about what you're. You should care a little. I care where I throw $1,000, but if you just say it's what I know and I like Blue Bubbles, then have at it. But
Blue Bubbles are convenient, but they're not make or break for me. So
there you go, pal.
But I like the interface. So.
The tie-in, which you kind of shook your head at earlier.
We'll debate a little on that one. Yeah.
Sure.
But I want you to be able to say it.
Okay. I won't say, especially compared to this list we have tonight of cults. things that aren't cults, but feel like cults.
Feel like cults.
2 on my list, by not a lot, is Apple.
You haven't ranked? I don't even have ranked. I just kind of listed them.
No, I just, on our list, there's an obvious number 1, and Apple would be an obvious number 2 for me.
I'm curious which one the obvious number 1 is. Is it based off of recent... Is it something that's been very big recently? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
It does feel like one, and we're going to get...
We'll save that, I
a
guess.
little bit of feathers, and we'll get to that. We'll probably close the show with that one, if that's okay with you.
Right. That's fine with me, pal. So take us away and introduce the first thing that's not technically a cult, but it feels like a cult.
It feels like a cult. So the number 1 thing that we wanted to talk about here is something you've heard about. You might even have one yourself. And it's the thing that provoked this thought in me probably over a year ago, before this podcast was even, an inkling of a thought.
Before it was conceived.
Peloton. Peloton is a cult. You want to know how I know that it is very culty?
How?
I had this thought. I've thought this myself. I'm like, man, this is weird. It feels like a weird cult thing. And about 6 months pass, and guess what pops into my YouTube feed? Ex-cult member talks about cults, and it's on one of those all-white room videos. I can't remember who does them. They're good usually, and they hold up the Google things and they reveal things, and they're like,
yes, I do like those. BuzzFeed or whatever it's called. Yeah.
They had an ex-cult member do one, and one of the questions was, why does Peloton feel like a cult? And I feel so validated. I'm like, thank you. It's weird. It's so weird. It feels like a cult, dude. It's so weird. What are you all doing? It's so weird. It's just biking. And it's good. Please do it. If it's changed your life, that's awesome. It does not need to be your whole personality. It doesn't.
No. I don't care. I don't care that you have a Peloton. Nobody does. Nobody cares. Oh, I spent 3 hours on the Peloton. I don't say that.
Ever.
You know what? Setting 3 feet from me right now is a Nordic Track exercise bike. You know why first off, we got Nordic Track because it's a heck of a lot cheaper than a Peloton. I'll tell you that. Nobody. Nordic Track, they do their thing. You're in their lane. Whatever. Peloton, oh my God, dude. It's just...
I wanted to mention, before we get any deeper into this, that the literal definition of a cult is a system of religious veneration, aka great reverence or respect, and devotion, directed towards a particular figure or object.
Aka everything we're talking about tonight.
Peloton's a cult, bro. It's a cult. You all are so dedicated to it. And I know for a fact, for Peloton, for Apple, for everything that we're going to list today, they are totally normal, casual. I'm a totally normal Apple user. I'm not freaking out to buy the newest iPhone.
You have a 12.
I have a 12. I would still have a 10R if I did not walk into a pool on my honeymoon with it in my pocket.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I was like, why is my thigh hot? Oh, that's my phone.
My phone?
Was a built-in thigh warmer. Just get it wet. And needless to say, it couldn't be saved on my honeymoon. But, yeah, if you're sitting at home and you have a Peloton, you're like, why are they coming at me? I'm probably not coming at you if that's the way you're thinking about it.
Right.
But there are people, and whether you want to admit it or not, you know who you are.
You do.
You all really like Peloton way too much, and it is culty. Please.
Because it's Peloton. It's like when iPhones used to come with the stickers, the Apple stickers, and y'all
and they're everywhere.
And y'all would put them on stuff. I don't. Oh my.
Oh my van.
My $200 HP laptop is now got Apple sticker on it. Shut up. Shut up.
You're so right.
I'm telling you, bro.
You're so right. What $200 Chromebook? Which, did you know Chromebook now has gaming?
No, that makes sense.
Have you not seen those ads? Because I get them every day.
No.
Someone at home gets those ads and got that reference, okay?
Okay, that's not bad.
I'm gaming on my... Oh, this one video. It had this person and it showed her name. I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say the person's name because I don't know who the frick she is. Sorry. Her name is Caitlin Riley?
Not
Should I get this right? Caitlin Riley. I remembered it. They're like, Caitlin Riley's gaming on Chromebook. I'm like, who the frick is this?
Why do I care?
And she goes, bam, I'm on my smartphone. Bam, I'm on my laptop. Bam, bam, bam. And then she like pauses and laughs. And she goes, it's so fun. I could do it all day. And you know what game they advertise in every single one of these ads? Homescapes. They're all like Facebook. They're like gaming on the Chromebook. I'm like, not really.
Oh my gosh.
PS5 now has gaming with the introduction of...
The Sims.
What's the freaking introduction? What is that? PS5 now has true gaming thanks to the introduction of the Candy Crush Saga. Like, give me a break. Come on. Anyways.
Anyway.
You're right. They would put their stickers on everything. And we can talk a little more about Apple here since it is one of the subjects that we wanted to talk about. Because you're right, Hearn. I'm an Apple consumer. I'm going to be one for at least the moderate foreseeable future. Again, I'm not anti-switching to Android if it appeals to me enough.
Right.
I will say, because I'm a sucker for certain things, and maybe I'm a little culty about some of the things that I'm into, but the general fan base isn't. Pokemon has a great relationship with Samsung, and they keep making these great official pieces of tech, like the Samsung pods. They're like, there's official Pokemon ones. And I'm like, dude, I'm so jealous. Like, I would totally buy these, and they would probably work with an iPhone, but they're not like optimized for iPhone. So,
right.
That kind of thing. But I'm telling you all, and I want to bring up this point. I'd like to get your take on her.
Bring it.
Okay? Mm-hmm. My wife, about an hour before we went to go shoot today, said, what are y'all talking about today? And I mentioned the subject, and I was like, we're going to talk about an Apple, and she was like, really, Apple? She's like, never really thought about that. She's like, I feel like, sure, Apple. She's like, I feel like Android is also kind of one as well, just because of how much they hate Apple. What is your take on that?
Yes, I would have to say that Android is, to a degree, a cult. I don't think it's as big as Apple because, like I said, I think I'm capable. I think more Android users are capable of sitting down looking at the numbers and being like, "Oh, my phone is better. I'm getting what I pay for, whatever." And that's my biggest thing. I don't hate Apple. I hate Apple for reasons. I hate Apple because I feel like what company isn't. The goal of a company is to make money. I get that, but whenever I feel like you're getting scammed, there's different levels. Like EA, dude. EA making video games, they suck. They're terrible.
At least lately.
The last 8 Maddens have been copy and pasted. They all suck.
Took the same old game and gave it a roster update.
Dude, I was
$70.
Dude, my brother was showing me 2K. I think it was like 2K. Dude, they had the thing where like you hop online and like hundreds of people are like walking around. And you could ride a hoverboard like the hoverboards like the wheels. You could ride a hoverboard to shops and buy shops and tattoos for your player, and it was fast. He would load stuff and it just poop poop and it'd go around. Madden, you sincerely are at the main menu and you like tab over to like another thing.
It's like
loads. It's terrible, dude. It's terrible.
Hey, but thank God Josh Allen's looking at me the whole time.
Yeah. Pick
Even
your favorite
if you
team.
hate the Bills, which I don't, but you do.
Pick your favorite team. What's that change?
Nothing. Not a thing.
At most, whenever you pick up a game, we'll just automatically have you preloaded. Oh, thank you. You saved me about 5 seconds of scrolling. And now Josh Allen just stands there on the home screen.
Doing dumb stuff. He does. Or like he'll run in sometimes. So like, whatever. Well, I don't need to look at Josh Allen the whole time. I swear to God, I don't. No. Okay, I don't care if it's Tom Brady. I don't care who it is. Tom Brady.
Why is it Josh Allen anyway?
Because he's
after
full
last
and
year.
Swaggy and upcoming. That's it. That's the only reason why.
Whatever. We could rant about. We could go on that tangent. So, sure. Long story short, yeah, I would agree that Android is its own cult. I don't think it's as big as Apple. I think we hate Apple because we're like, we see what we get, we see what y'all get, and we're like, like they're kind of ripping, like whatever. So yeah, overall.
Have you seen that in 2K? Because you mentioned the My Player thing in the open world, like walking around other people, real time kind of thing. Where for NBA players, they will literally make their My Player, if they contact 2K, make it their model for the game, and like big time NBA players will play the game and walk around and stuff. If you're in the like My Player world and you see LeBron James, it's literally LeBron James playing, and he does play.
That's Madden would
so cool.
Disintegrate if they tried something like that. Madden would disintegrate.
Can we talk about the fact that about 12 players in Madden actually look like themselves and a bunch don't?
Dude, oh my gosh.
They're so behind on player scans that Tyreek Hill, a consensus top 5 wide receiver, he's at worst top 5 in the NFL. Some would say the best. They're so behind on face scans that a consensus top 5 wide receiver had long hair for a full season, and we thought was going to have it going into this season too. Cut it right before the season, or at least has it up now. And they never updated him to have long hair ever. So now he's accurate again because he had short hair the whole time. And he had short hair, and then he had long hair, and kind of had longer hair, and now he's back, and you can't see his hair through his helmet anymore. And it's still accurate because they never updated him to have longer hair.
The most blatant proof, since we're on this,
so
because I could do a whole hot take on EA Sports / Madden.
It's not
the most blatant evidence that they just copy and paste the game every year. This year in the NFL, on kickoffs, if you can fair catch a kickoff, you can get it on the 25.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you can fair catch kickoffs, not in the end zone, take it to the 25 like a touchback.
Yes. Just like college, whatever. I'm playing. I fair catch at the 1, because at the 1 I'm going to fair catch that.
Would have been bad until this year.
Would have been terrible, yes. But I knew the rule was updated. Mm-hmm. Madden actually did have the rule updated, thank God, because the little it spotted me on the 25. The announcers, however, what could he possibly be thinking? He just fair catched at the 1. Big mistake. You copy and paste the game. You do.
Yeah.
And the number of times that the announcers have said the wrong team, that the Dolphins are playing the Chiefs, and they're saying the Giants. No, the Giants aren't here. There was one time I was losing 6-22. I make a rushing play for like 6 yards.
He's on fire.
He's on fire, and that's a big reason they have the lead. I'm losing by like 20 points.
The game is subject
garbage,
talking about. They've ruined one of the best gaming franchises in the game.
And it's because they're not challenged.
No
No. I don't know who owns 2K. I don't know. Is that
2K,
it?
2K Interactive, I think, is the name of the company.
2K, make a football game, please.
Or Take-Two,
please.
maybe.
Like, we're coming out with NCAA.
They can't.
soon.
They're not allowed to. There's exclusive rights associated with it, with the NFL.
To football?
To
Only
make
Madden?
an NFL game, yes. They can make a football game, it's not an NFL game. Or college.
NFL Street was better anyway. That was
Street
good.
slaps. We can talk about that song,
awesome.
bro. Such a good game. And NFL Blitz.
Oh, Blitz is one of my favorite games of all time.
NFL Blitz 2000.
Love it. You go to the arcades and they have the fusions. Yeah. I love it. Like, you could tackle somebody, and like 3 seconds after the play, you could just spam, like, tackle. And your guys are like powerbomb. Like,
they pick him up, throw him behind their backs. It's so great. Again, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yes. Yeah, so if we want, if we want to stay on subject, we need to just wrap this back, because we could take that for another episode.
There's a player in the NFL that's been in the NFL for 5 seasons, and his picture was wrong in Madden this year, and they've not updated it to fix it. So my right tackle on the Bengals is Jonah Williams, and his picture is not Jonah Williams, and I don't know.
It's a different guy. It's some random dude.
It's a random guy. They've not updated it. I don't know who the heck it is. Like, who is this guy? It's not Jonah Williams. It doesn't even look like him.
Oh my God.
So I thought you might appreciate that.
I believe it. I fully believe it. You'll be back. No, I won't. I promise I won't. I'm not doing the next season of the franchise. We did the franchise. I promise I'm out. I can't, dude. I can't do it.
Well,
it
didn't
terrible.
go great. It was kind of a tough adjustment.
Yeah. Sincerely, if you haven't played Call of Duty in a decade, I promise you, pick up Call of Duty. It's easier than picking up Madden. Why is it so freaking complicated? And I have it on the easiest settings.
They've changed a lot.
I have it on like the easiest throw settings. There's still 9 different ways I can throw a ball. It don't matter. It's going to be inaccurate anyway because the game decided.
Because you don't have a top 3 quarterback. They screwed that this year.
Well, it's realistic. It's realistic for quarterbacks to miss throws. I understand that. I don't want my quarterback to make
this. I love it.
I don't want my quarterback to make every single throw. I know you can turn it to where they do. You can make it to where all teams are even. I know they have options for that. Whenever Tua Tagovailoa, top 3, argue with
stats over the last 2 seasons.
One of the most accurate quarterbacks in the entire NFL. You did it. You can attest.
He's miserable. He's awful in that.
This man Shapirian was like, I was struggling. I was like, this is terrible. He's like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you some plays.
I've got Joe Burrow, and I'm like, I'm not having any problems.
Deadeye. I never even seen that word with Tua. Deadeye.
It says deadeye every time I throw.
Meanwhile, it's literally like on the run, cross body, deadeye for Joe Burrow, and then Tua's like inaccurate.
Standing still, perfect protection.
It literally says inaccurate.
5 yards out.
It's not like good accuracy, poor accuracy, inaccurate. It's like 10 yards overthrown.
Terrible time, dude. I don't know what it was.
If you are a Madden pro, I would say how many you've got decades. Solid. You've got a decade of experience in Madden.
I'll talk my trash in Madden for sure.
If you're saying, man, this sucks, how do you think I feel as a man who hasn't played in 10 years? I was like, this is garbage, bro.
I know, bro. We could really go on about that for a long time. We really could. It needs to change. NFL, if you're listening, and we know you're not.
I hope you are.
I hope you are. But we know you're not. Please, God, get rid of the exclusivity. I don't care how much those blood-sucking leeches at EA are paying you.
That's all that matters.
And EA, if you're listening, I don't care if you are. You're not sponsoring us ever, no matter how big or small we are. I don't want your freaking money to talk about how great Madden is. I don't even have a massive problem with it. I can have fun with it still. We need competition. We do. Please. We need a 2K NFL game to go side by side with it. We do.
How did we get here? EA being terrible.
Yeah. So, back to the subject of things that aren't Colts that feel like Colts. Now that we've gone way off the rails. We should have named ourselves the Off the Rails Podcast.
Yeah, that's our nickname.
Yeah. It might as well be, dude. There's a show that comes on every Saturday night, at least pre-writer's strike. Although that's ended now. It used to be funny. Everyone agrees at some point that it was funny. Everyone can look at this show and say, I used to really like this show. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to even get into the like, oh, they've gotten really political, or no, they haven't. Like, we don't need to get into that side of things.
Right.
But Saturday Night Live, and people that really like Saturday Night Live, borderline cult status. Talk about it.
I watched Saturday Night Live a lot with my family like 10 years ago. It was pretty good. It was. We would watch an episode and pretty reliably we would laugh.
It always had its moments.
Yes, it slowly got to where only the Weekend Update was really funny. And
that is a great bit.
Still to this day, I'll randomly search up like the Weekend Update and watch its bits. Especially when Colin Jost and Michael Che swap jokes.
They're great.
Hilarious. I love those guys.
Michael Che's great, dude.
Michael Che, dude. A YouTuber was shot for pranking people in a mall. Good. I love his delivery is perfect. That's exactly my thoughts on it.
No remorse. Next bit. Next headline.
Good. Yeah. That's perfect.
Good.
Love those guys. The show overall, though, I feel like it rather quickly declined. Like
it was pretty sudden.
I won't tune in. I don't have to avoid it because I don't watch a lot of cable TV anyway. But I won't anymore.
When's the last time, other than a nice 15 seconds from Weekend Update, that you saw a bit go viral? Even in the first place, but even further back, when's the last time that you saw one you're like, man, that is funny? This is comedy. Now this is comedy. It's been a while.
It kills me too. Like, I understand you want to get, Ariana Grande. I know you want to get big names on there. The point of the show is to be funny.
They're not funny.
I don't care that you got Michelle Obama on the show. Is she funny? That's the point of the show, is to be funny.
Michelle Obama on SNL?
Maybe. Oh. But are they funny?
I feel like that's for what it's worth, the Obamas are like deadpan funny without meaning to be sometimes.
They are.
But their delivery of stuff. So I'm like, actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, honestly,
I'd love to see that. Yeah.
Barack,
if you're watching.
Barack acknowledging, thanks Obama.
Thanks Obama.
The cookie in the glass.
So great, dude.
Brilliant. I love it.
So great.
Thanks Obama.
Thanks Obama. So good. His delivery of stuff is top tier. So
So,
anyways.
But again, have a host that's funny. That's the point of the show. A lot of your hosts ain't funny anymore. They're just there to people please, whatever. And then the show's not funny. At this point, if you're an avid SNL fan, you're hypnotized because it's not good.
Yep. And I just want to say, not only do the big time supporters, but like it's the funniest show in television. It has been for 50 years. It's had its moments. Big time comedians, right. People that are really funny have came through there. Big time. Like John Mulaney is a more recent alum. I think he's amazing. He's so funny.
Yep. Pretty recent, very funny.
But it's to the point that even the people who host the show, it feels like, are kind of a little tiny cult because like they all fit like a really weird archetype that I can't necessarily put into words. Does that make any sense?
The host.
I can look at people like Kate McKinnon. This is the one that I'm going to look at. She's like a lovely person. I loved her in Barbie. She played a great role. Very funny. But there's something about her where I'm just like, you're very SNL. You're almost like too SNL.
Yeah.
And like everyone kind of gives that energy. She did those Verizon Wireless commercials and stuff. And I'm just like, this is very... It kind of gives me the ick.
It's like you can tell when somebody came from Disney Channel. You can tell when somebody you can tell, oh, she's a Lifetime movie actress. She hasn't done that. She does Lifetime movies. There are levels, and you can tell. Yep. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it just feels kind of icky. Like the energy does. It feels kind of icky. Yeah. So, you want to intro the next one we've got, or one of the next couple that we have? We have 3 or 4 more left.
Let's go one that I teased episodes ago. Mm-hmm. The biggest cult in the auto industry, Jeep.
It's Jeep. I'd agree.
You are paying so much money for your car to say JEEP on the side.
Personality.
That's so much what you're paying for. Is that it says on the side. Bring it up again. They have a wagon stroller at Target. A normal one's like $150, $200. The Jeep one's $400 because it says Jeep Wrangler on it. And you'll pay for it. You will. I got a Jeep stroller.
If you have a Jeep, you're going to get that stroller.
I understand there are people out there that like Wranglers, and that fits their lifestyle. Literally last night, we were going to dinner, and there's a Jeep Wrangler in the parking lot. No doors. You can't keep anything in your car.
Did it have ducts?
I don't think it had ducts, which is
yes,
that is a thing. I know there's a person at my work that she has her whole windshield's ducts. Oh, my ducts, and she has a cardboard box in the back apparently.
It's not Jeeps.
She was going on.
Does she have a Jeep?
Oh no, she has a Wrangler. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was like, she has to have a Jeep. It's a duct.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's the thing.
Yeah. Going on and on about the ducks.
I like the rubber ducks. I just don't think it makes any sense, and I don't know why it's like a cult thing.
The Jeep Wave. Everyone does it. Everyone does some kind of like your hands on the wheel and you do like a or a little salute.
Is that what
whatever
it is?
You do?
I don't know. That all the time.
Yes. No, whatever the Jeep Wave exactly is, I promise you, anyone on the planet can do it. It's like, this is so stupid. I hate this is the only day you can retweet this. I will retweet it the next day just to spite you. You're so stupid.
I've seen you do it.
Stop saying it. Stop saying it. Stop making yourself special. You're not. Stop it. The Jeep Wave. Anybody can wave that way. Anybody. It's not a Jeep thing. Whenever you bought your Jeep from the dealership, did they instruct you, this is a Jeep Wave? Is it in the manual? No. Shut up. Shut up. It's not a thing. You're not cool. You're not cool for doing it.
No, you're not cool because you don't do it. You just don't get it.
I got the Dodge Ram Wave. That's what I got. It's this right here. It's this right here. It's a one finger.
You know what the Dodge Ram is? Boom! That's wow! Bigger, faster, you move! Boom! I'm a Dodge Ram all the way! Left lane's wide open. Left lane's wide open. Boom! Boom! I'm a Dodge Ram! High beams! That's the Dodge Ram win.
I couldn't hear a word of it. You're acting out. You're acting. I couldn't hear you. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, dude. You were like sitting there acting out, and you're like doing that stuff. And all of a sudden I heard left leg's wide open.
I definitely cooked my microphone there, being loud. So I keep rocking my whole setup tonight.
Oh, the Dodge
Dodge Ram Wave
is the bit that keeps on giving on this show. I love it.
But I agree. Listen, I like the way Jeeps look. Always have since I was a kid. I really like 90s and 80s Jeeps. I think they look really cool and classic. I understand the significance in American culture, being like what they use for the GIs or whatever, because they were what they could throw together really cheaply and move overseas really cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
I went to start looking at cars one time. I didn't even end up buying one at this time of my life. And I really wanted one of the newer Jeeps. And 2 different people in my life said, absolutely do not buy a Jeep, because you will have to replace parts on it at some point that you wouldn't on other cars. Get a Toyota, get a Subaru, get a Honda. You will not need to replace those parts. So that's the reputation among people who know cars better than I do, which is none. So,
right. I just like, yeah, I agree. It is by far the cultiest of the auto industry. Every brand has their thing. Ford and Chevy owners are going to argue all day. Dodge stereotyped as aggressive, bad drivers. Everybody has their stigma or whatever, but Jeep is just, it's its own thing.
Yeah. Well,
you take the next one, since you got a little affiliation with one of
it's a little close to home. Yeah. Something that is not a cult, but definitely feels like a cult, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, it kind of is one to a degree. That would be Starbucks.
Hey.
Siren is always watching.
Merry coffee.
And Merry coffee. Hey, listen, $1 billion company.
I love it.
With Merry Coffee.
You did that. I can't even remember what I said at this point, but I said something to you like, "Oh, like whatever," and you're like, "Oh well, Merry Coffee." Like, is this the nonchalantness of it? That's had to have been how they went into that pitch meeting for that. Oh, well, Merry Coffee. Like, we don't care. We're just gonna put something out there. Take it. Go ahead.
I like Starbucks. I love their branding, and I respect their branding. Their branding is very deeply rooted into American culture. It's deeply ingrained into worldwide coffee culture. I used to really respect Howard Schultz as a businessman. I think he's taken a couple steps back in that degree over the past 6 to 7 years. But let's be honest with ourselves here. Starbucks is not a cult in the traditional sense, but it feels like a cult, dude. It feels like one. You get judged for liking Dunkin' Donuts better than Starbucks. I've been guilty of this myself. I've been guilty of this myself, especially when I worked at Starbucks. That's my affiliation with them. You have a certain degree of respect if you're carrying around the newest, fanciest, trendy Starbucks cup. You ever seen them? I'm sure you've seen some people carrying them around and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've had 2 of them, I guess.
Had to have. Whether you realize it or not, right? It's a thing.
Right.
There's 3 or 4 people in my office that carry them around. I've carried some old ones around until I got a newer water bottle, right? It's a thing. You can present it. You have a Dunkin' Donuts cup. You know how trashy you look? Am I wrong?
Trash. Get out.
You know how white trash you look to be carrying around a Dunkin' Donuts cup? The perception. I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying, what's the perception here? Starbucks, correct. Elite. You paid $4 for that coffee that you could have got for 99 cents at McDonald's? Elite. You paid $8 for that Frappuccino just because it has extra whipped cream and drizzle on it? Elite. Money moves. Another one. And I worked there for a long time. I enjoyed my time working for the company. And I generally only have positive things to say about it. What?
That whenever you were talking about you were going to lose your job. And I was
like, I'm
a barista.
But it's very culty. It is. There are people who swear by it. There are people who swear it's the best coffee in the world. I can tell you confidently it's not. Even their higher end stuff, which is really, really good, it's not the best.
Right.
It is fast food coffee. It is. Like, their espresso roast and Pike Place roast. Pike Place roast is literally the worst coffee I've ever tasted in my life. I did a Starbucks versus Dunkin' taste test video, and Starbucks did end up narrowly winning. I don't know if you watched that or not, Herm. Don't blame me if you didn't or whatever, but yeah, whatever. I did have Starbucks over Dunkin', but their espresso and Pike Place roast specifically are so burnt to a crisp, intentionally. Not kidding you. Strategically from the company. Because they have to use such large coffee roasters that the only way to guarantee that it's consistent throughout, nationwide, worldwide, for you to be able to walk into a Starbucks and get the same flavor, is to burn it. I'm not kidding you. Because coffee is very volatile in the roasting process. I've roasted coffee myself before for one of the companies I used to work for. And Starbucks burns the crap out of their coffee. And tells you it's a medium roast, and it's not. It's darker than a dark roast from other places.
It's funny that you say that. There's a coworker of mine who previously worked at Starbucks said the exact same thing. That's pretty much all he could say was that they burned the crap out of their
It's
dogs.
burned. It's darker than other places' dark roasts. It is.
My
and I still get it sometimes, but yeah, and it feels like a cult for the people that will defend it with their life. I don't know. It's very strange to me.
My biggest thing with Starbucks, and you've seen it before, is that movie with Paul Rudd in it, talking about how stupid their names are of their drinks.
I don't. It sounds familiar, but I don't know that I've actively seen it. It
might be a bit, but I think it's from a movie. He goes into a large black coffee, and the woman's like, "You mean a venti?" He's like, "No, I mean large." And she's like, "Well, venti's large." He goes, "No, venti means 20." And he's like, "Large is large, and grande is Spanish for large, and tall is it like a toll size or something? Tall is something else. I think it's Italian or something. No."
Have I told you why? Have I told you the reasoning why? Every one of the sizes made sense for the time, and then they never adjusted them. You want to very briefly, promise, know the story of why they're called that?
No, but you're gonna tell me anyway.
Back in the day, yes, I am. Back in the day, Starbucks. I think there's people that would be interested in this. Had two sizes, and they made sense. They had short and they had tall, and they were just trying to be unique. And even that, I'm gonna punch you in the face one of these days for doing that. It's not boring. Stop acting like it is. Okay, you're not too good to hear a little fun fact. All right? Grow up. Starbucks back in the day had two sizes, a short and a tall. They were just being unique. They're trying to get out there. You could tell that they had global domination on their minds, apparently. And they're trying to be unique. They have an 8 ounce and a 12 ounce, short, tall. Made sense in terms of the scale. But then they're like, oh, we want to do a 16 ounce. If it's bigger, we can charge more. So, well, we've already got short and tall. Crap. What are we going to do to make people know this is the big size? This is the big size. Grande. Short, tall, grande. Makes sort of sense. Grande is the biggest. Tall's in the middle now. That's kind of weird. Comes down the line. Oh no, now we want a 20 ounce. That's the biggest size most places are doing. What are we going to do? And they've literally already had two different things that mean big, so they go by the number. Short, tall, grande, venti. There's also one for ice drinks called Trenta. They just mean 20 and 30. But every one of them at the time made sense. But now we're so far gone that it makes no sense. The size convention does. It makes no sense at all. So there you go. Little history lesson.
I just think it's... I can't remember the exact quote, but he goes on to say it's 3 languages, and pretty much none of them are what they mean.
Yeah, like, English, Spanish, and Italian. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He says that. He says, "Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages."
The venti ice drink is 26 ounces for what it's worth, not 20.
That's even stupider.
Yeah, makes no sense, right?
So
yeah, I think that does a decent job wrapping up Starbucks. All of these we could talk too long about, especially for how long we talked about EA and Madden in this episode. So we need to kind of wrap it up. I think. Do you want to hit on that last one we talked about as an honorable mention before we get to our big send off?
Sure, yeah, we can hit it real quick. If we had to pick a sporting in the sporting world, feels like a cult. It
not
is
even a team.
No, it is the SEC.
What's the SEC, Hearn?
As Superior put it, the SEC is a CULT, which is freaking brilliant. I'm not one to sit here. I don't have the right nor the knowledge to sit here and give you a history of the SEC. I would describe it as a conference of college sports, right? It's a group of schools
that have gotten together and said, we play each other every year.
Yeah, and for some reason, if you're not in SEC school, they don't want to hear. They don't want you to open your mouth.
Then Vanderbilt football is better than you because they're in the SEC.
Please shut up.
Georgia head coach Kirby Smart, 2-time defending national champion, came out and said, every team in the SEC should be ranked. There are teams that are out there that don't want to play 1-4 Vanderbilt this week. Give me a break, dude. What? Every team, you should be ranked because you're in the SEC.
No.
You are by default and at worst a top 25 team in the country because you're in the SEC. Give me a break. And here's the thing. He's speaking what's on every SEC fan's mind. There are some great SEC fans out there. There are some. But there are some people who do coverage for big news media outlets out there. I'm going to just throw his name out there because he's never going to hear this anyways. Paul Feinbaum, if you're listening, and we know you are, not. You are such a freaking schmuck for the SEC, and you perfectly represent what everyone acts like for the SEC. Wow, it's just Well, let's see how they do with an SEC schedule playing one less conference game than every other major conference. Playing Toledo in the middle of November. Let's see how they do with that. People like to give my favorite college football team, Michigan, hard time for playing 3 cupcakes to start the season, like almost everyone does. You might have one big team in there. At most one. We had Notre Dame in there for years. We've got Texas next year, although they're joining the Big Ten now, so that got kind of screwed up.
Texas is?
You will have at most one big team outside of your conference that you play every year. One. The SEC has one less conference game than every other conference does. Every other major conference. And will schedule a random crap team to play right smack in the middle of their schedule for basically a week off. And then sit there and look at you in the face and say, we're just built different. We are just better.
Yes.
The SEC, it just means more, is literally a thing.
Bama will go and drop 60 on
Rice.
New River Southeast West College. Bama, roll tide, baby! Woo! Yeah, you beat a high school team. Congratulations. Like, nobody cares. Everybody hates you. Nobody
Bama's
cares.
not even the one that bothers me.
Who bothers you most?
Tennessee, until last year when they were good again. It's UK in football. It's Vanderbilt. It's Florida over the last 10 plus years. Acting like SEC. It just means more. What? We're in the SEC. You just don't get it. Dude. We're in the SEC. And there's this literal, and they act like it's because of some history of we just dominated the sport for forever. There are 8 blue blood colleges in college football. Blue bloods meaning historical dominance. I think the SEC has 2 of the 8. So shut up. You're not better than any other conference, and the people that act like they are better by their general heredity make me sick to my stomach. It feels like a cult. Sorry if that wasn't quite brief enough.
Nope, I think it's good. It definitely wasn't brief enough for our time. But you know what? That's what we're here for. So we're gonna wrap it up with the cult of all cults, and it's so relevant right now that it's insane. Even a person so closely involved with this thing is saying you're doing.
Hey, back off. It's too much.
What is it, Fal?
It's the Swifties, bro. It feels like a cult, and it acts like a cult. Oh my god! The SEC, Taylor's version.
Oh god!
I want a G, but I want Taylor's version.
It's insane, dude. I'm
gonna preface this by just saying, if you had gun to my head, you have to answer honestly, like or dislike Taylor Swift. I would say I like Taylor Swift. If given those two options. I don't dislike her. Do you dislike her?
I think she is okay.
Because it's not her fault that she's overrated. It's not her fault that she's overrated.
Her as a person. So yeah, I guess not. I guess her as a person,
but
I don't have issues with. I think she is honestly bad, and I think her fans are. That's what somebody else. It came out recently. It was Kelsey's ex was coming out and stirring the water a little
Travis
bit.
Kelsey's ex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever. And she even said, she said it perfectly. She was like, I don't have anything against Swift. The Swifties are crazy. Coming
at Travis Kelsey's ex because she used to date the guy that Taylor Swift is now dating. How dare she? Listen to yourselves, people.
You're terrible people.
Listen to yourselves.
You are terrible people.
And so, it's gotten so bad. I don't even really disagree with the idea of at least showing, oh my god, Taylor Swift is at an NFL game and she's dating one of the players. Once. But to talk about it on every NFL-based show, the NFL making it their cover photo.
Yes.
To the point that it went on long enough to where verified, long-standing, very reputable reporters have spoken out and said, this is going too far. And as you mentioned, I'll let you take it. Who else thinks it's gone too far?
The man involved with it, Travis Kelce. The supposed boyfriend is saying, NFL, you're taking this a little too far.
His employer. He told his employer, guys.
And he's getting an increase in sales. His jerseys is spiked up. All that stuff
sold out.
Even with all that,
Instagram followers in one day.
Even with all that, he's looking past that and saying, "Y'all are doing a little much." What does that tell you?
Yeah,
it's insane, dude. And
I've never seen an artist. Keep going.
At this point, I don't know how together they are because at first they're just talking, whatever. I don't care. I don't have such little of a life that I have to keep up with who Taylor Swift's dating.
Yeah, I've never cared.
At this point, you know that it could, because if it's a narrative or whatever, because they're not going to stay together. They're going to break up inevitably, and Taylor's going to write a copy and paste song for the 12th decade in a row. Whatever, that's all she does. The 12th decade. They won't break up during football season, though, because if they break up during football season, it would tank. It would tank the Chiefs. It would tank Kelsey, whatever. So no matter what happens, they're going to drag this in. We've got, what, 11 more weeks at least? 13 more weeks at least of this?
Technically, like 14. Yeah.
At least of this. And it's just...
And they're going to make the playoffs because they're the Chiefs and they're good. And they might win the Super Bowl again. They're going to be there.
Everybody doubted us. Everybody doubted us. Everybody said we couldn't do it. You were like the second favorite team.
You were literally the Vegas odds-on favorite from the preseason. But anyways.
Everybody doubted us.
Georgia did this too. SEC just means more. Nobody believed in us. You were the number one team in the country all year.
Shut up. Everybody said we were rebuilding. Who said that?
No.
Who?
But anyways, I have no problem with Taylor Swift as a person. Not a single one. I give you that. I think if we came face to face for some whatever reason and were forced to talk for 10 minutes, we'd get along just fine. I really do. I think we would. Her fans are freaking psycho. And I will not throw that term out hardly ever. I've come to like BTS decently well. A couple of their songs in English, okay? Dynamite, Butter, great songs. I'll say that. I'll die on that hill.
I like this.
Their fans are psycho to the point that someone said, hey guys, you want this Ukraine war to end? Get BTS to put on Twitter that they're not making any more music until this war is over, and the BTS fans would have Putin's balls on a platter by the end of the hour. Okay? Because the fans are psycho.
Forget special forces. Psycho. Yeah. Forget special forces. We got the BTS.
It's true for Taylor Swift too. Fans. And it's gotten further than that, I think. Further. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I can't even imagine, like, if Michael Jackson was around during the social media era. The Beatles, right? The crazy cult followings they would have had. Social media has exacerbated this issue, by far. And it is insane. You can't say anything neutral about her. Has to be positive. Because she can do no wrong. And she's fine, but she's not God's greatest gift, people. She's not.
No, she's not. Like I said, as a person, I agree. Not that I can think of. I don't have anything against her as a person. Mm-hmm. I personally dislike her music. I will actively seek to avoid it. That would get me canceled.
My issue with it is that, just like any other current artist, there are 2 to 3 songs that I'm like, yeah, I like that song. And that's about it. But she has 500 songs, and they're all the 500 greatest songs ever, depending on if you ask a Swiftie or not. And it's like, I don't really like that song. There's a couple of them and I'm just like, huh? Like Cruel Summer, rhyming ooh, 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 whoa with Cruel Summer. What?
Dude, that's
the greatest lyricist of our time.
It's that's not what I'll say. By the way. I will go around. It's like how people say, "Oh, it tastes like chicken." Like chicken is like the benchmark of like what does it taste like. Whenever somebody does a terrible rhyme, I'll say that's a Taylor Swift rhyme, because Bad Blood's my favorite. Now we got Bad Blood. We used to be Mad Love. Take a look what you've done. It obviously doesn't rhyme, but she sings it as if it rhymes.
She sings it in cursive.
Bad blood, mad love, done. That doesn't make it rhyme.
Have you seen that video of Camila Cabello? I'll be home for Christmas. She sings in cursive. Yeah. And that's how she makes things rhyme. And she gets so much credit. She writes all of her own songs. Okay, the problem here is that no one else writes their own songs these days. She should not get credit for like something that was standard back in the day. Like when the best songs were being written, in our opinions at least.
Yeah.
She writes all of her own songs. They're not good. I don't care.
Now we got problems. We got problems. Solve them. Cut. Blood. Problems. Cut. Blood. That somehow.
Each other?
I don't know. She sings it like it does.
I just think like the general sound with her song. And the issue here is not, we're not even here to dissect her. We're here to dissect her fans and how her fans feel like a cult. Mm. I don't even feel like there's anything special about anything that she does. And that's my big problem. when I finally sat and listened to Dynamite by BTS, who, by the way, I got in a 3 or 4 day war with their fans because I said one negative thing about them years ago.
You did.
I was like, "What are you all doing?" I heard about this BTS band. They're like the biggest band in the world. Played one song. It's not in English. How are any of you all caring about this? It's not for you. I don't have a problem that they're making music in Korean. It's just not for me. So, like, what are you all doing acting like this is the best thing since sliced bread? 4 day war. Finally heard Dynamite. It's in English. Wow, okay. This is super infectious. Great song, great beat. Stuck in my head. Meaningless lyrics, but very self-aware of that. You can tell it's just kind of that song. Love it. Oh, I get it now. This is a different band. They do make different music. Oh, my bad. Rock with BTS, bro. For sure. I'm yet to hear a Taylor Swift song that I'm like, my bad. This is special. This is different. This is one of a kind in the industry. Mm-hmm. No one else is doing this. Can you say about anything that she's put out there? Any of you?
Absolutely not.
So she's not worthy of this fan base being so awestruck by her. She's just like every other pop star. Every one of them. But like, I don't know. I don't even know when this happened. Dude, when we were growing up, she wasn't this big.
I thought she was kind of big from the beginning, back when she was singing country. I thought she was
I only liked her when she sang country.
I thought she was
so
bad
many people
then.
like that.
I thought she was bad then.
I'm not a country fan, so you lose me at that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I haven't been a fan for years, and I think she's going to put out a song. It's about a breakup. Whoop-de-doo. You write your own songs. Can you write about anything other than boys and breakups?
Is it the fact that she's not as loud and in your face as every other pop star, but still makes pop music that really like sets her apart? Because I think the general vibes, oh, she's so down to earth, and I'm like, I don't think so. Like, have you? I don't think that's the case. I think she just sings like she's down to earth. I think she sings like she's relatable. And in fact, hey, there's one thing you're not going to say about Taylor Swift is that she doesn't know how to run business. No. Clearly a great businesswoman. Clearly very smart minds in her ears. Because she's filthy stinking rich, obviously. Yep. Something that neither of us are. But my problem is not her. My problem is the suckers. My problem is the suckers that act like this is the greatest artist of all time. All time.
We have problems with two people on this show repeatedly. Stans and basically the same thing, people who are not self-aware.
Not self-aware.
Normally those go hand in hand. If you are a stan of blank blank, you probably you aren't aware that they do wrong, that they're not perfect. There are things in this world that I love. I would go to bat for all day. But I'm never the Queen. I'm never gonna say Queen is perfect. I'm not gonna say Queen has ever met you have to be able to have a
listen. The day that I act like the Cincinnati Bengals can do no wrong, shoot me in the head.
This man took time to
shoot me in the head.
Reorganize his whole backdrop.
Who dat?
He changed it.
Just for you, buddy.
I wonder what the record
is for this one episode.
What's their record ever since you started doing it on this show?
I think I started at 4 week 1, so 1-3, soon to be 1-4, I believe. Because I've stopped. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've stopped believing that they can be a contender this year. I have. So I don't think Joe Burrow's gonna get healthy in time. I don't. So that's besides the point.
Anyway,
1-3, probably 1-4 by the time you're hearing this. Hope I'm wrong. We'll see.
Who dat, baby?
Who dat, baby? Yes, sir. That's right. Yeah, let's go. He did the thing.
I said who dat.
Oh, did you really? Screw you. It's like SpongeBob coming on the stage versus Squidward.
That's exactly what I was like, yeah.
I think we've covered enough. We went over more than we probably have on any episode.
Of course.
But it's just too much, just like the Swifties are. You summed it great. I think you did a perfect job summarizing. I wish I could have stumbled into that a little sooner because you did the best job any of us could have done to do it. We have repeated problems with two things in this planet. Two types of people in this planet. Stans of anything that think that thing or person can do no wrong, and people who, in general, lack any sort of self-awareness. Swifties, generally, are both. Period.
He just dropped the mic on all y'all. Tell them where they can tell us what they think.
I think you can take what you think and shove it up your butt. No.
Up your butt to the left.
I would actually love to hear what you think, even if I think you can take it and shove it. At HeadacheSpot on Twitter, or at Headaches and Hot Takes on TikTok, if we'd ever get to where we're actively using that app more than we have so far.
We will.
One of these days. Hey, just speaking of one of these days, you got anything else you'd like to say?
One of these days, pal.
Next week.
I'm going to put the dates in a hat. I'm just going to pick it out, but it's always going to say next week. Next week. Next week, I'm going to tell you the story of the smell that is burnt into my nose to this day.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm excited. Okay. What a way to make sure I never want to hear this story. Looking forward to that next week. Tell us what you think. Hope you love the podcast. Tell a friend about Headaches and Hot Takes. That's it from me. Hooday to the 1-4 Cincinnati Bengals.
Peace, baby.